Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sitdown, and whatever final of the year 2020. That's right, it is December 31st. At the time we are recording, it's noon, so we're 12 hours away from the end of 2020, and I'm sure many people are looking forward to closing the door on this year and moving on into 2021. And it's been a rough year for most of us. And I certainly hope that we can all celebrate safely. I will certainly be staying home alone, little Zoom call action, a couple margaritas in store. But my main way of celebrating, at least throughout the day, pumping out content for you guys. I had a bunch of things that I watched before the year was over because some of those things were things that were going to influence, some top 10s, specifically my top 10 movies. This movie in particular certainly has a major impact on that list, and I'm glad that I got all these things in. But now I got to talk about them before we can get to the top 10. So let's not waste any more time, man. Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready to dive in, spoiler-free, into Promising Young Woman. Wow, dude, let me tell you. One, this is a movie that I'm glad I saw before the year was over, because like I said, it's got major ramifications for my top 10 list. Specifically, my top 5 right now. I have been bouncing around all day, and I saw this it's been almost about 20 hours ago I went to go see this movie. And it's been bouncing around in my head, man, and my list has changed a whole bunch because, like I said, this is just a wow kind of movie. Emerald Fennell, who is writing and directing here, and directing debut, no less, man. Another one to add to the list with people like Remy Weeks and Natalie Erica James, and just some of the directors that have come out swinging. And Fennell comes out swinging here. I am not familiar with her. She worked, I believe, on Killing Eve, the second season. I think she took over some of the showrunning duties. And I've heard good things. And after seeing this movie, I am interested to see what Emerald Fennell does going forward. But this is a movie that I've been excited about since the trailer dropped. The minute the trailer dropped, I was like, this looks like something real juicy and something that Carey Mulligan had certainly never done. The performance that I was picking up in the trailer felt special. Doesn't even compare to what she actually does in the movie. Carey Mulligan is beyond phenomenal in this one. But this movie, in general, is beyond phenomenal because of Emerald Fennell. Her script here tackles some really tough subject matter. And it's subject matter that certainly isn't talked about enough. And the specific subject matter, this movie falls under a broader umbrella. But the specific story that Fennell is telling here, that type of stuff never gets talked about at all. And that immediately makes this a very important movie. And I love the way in which Fennell goes about having that conversation. It's dark and a little twisted. But if you are like Carey Mulligan, the synopsis on the movie, if you have your IMDb up, is a movie about a young woman who's traumatized by a tragic event in her past, who seeks out vengeance against those who cross her path. And the trailer certainly gave us a revenge vibe. This movie is not, at its base, is a revenge movie. There's so much more going on here. But the way Fennell attacks those really tough moments, she just gets at it, and gets at it in a way where you don't have to have a ton of exposition. She shows you a lot. And specifically in the last 10 minutes of the movie. The end of this movie is going to make or break this thing for people. And it is a whoa kind of ending. And I happen to like the way in which she approached it. Like I said, Carey Mulligan's character, Cassie, is kind of adjacent to the trauma. The trauma happens to a friend of hers. And if you are a person who has ever been, adjacent to some kind of trauma impacting somebody that you love, it's very, very easy to get on board with what Carey Mulligan is doing. It is very, very easy to understand where she is coming from. And being one of those people, I was locked in with what she was doing from the get-go, and I was able to enjoy everything that was going on. Because the type of people that she's going after in this movie are the type of people who deserve bad things. And this movie talks about that. It talks about forgiveness, and certainly talks a lot about just the overall situation and the way people respond to it, and the way people, who are connected respond to it versus people who don't, who aren't directly connected respond to it. And Fennel just knocks that stuff out of the park. Add on top of that, building out Cassie's character, she's able to not just live in the dark and the tough stuff, but she's able to have a lot lighter moments. The movie in and of itself, and we'll get to the look and style, is bright more often than not. And Cassie, I love her story because it's complete. You can totally see every aspect of what's going on with her. Things that she wants, reasons why she can't have things that she wants, the things that have held her back in life, and where she's coming from. And Fennel fills the movie and fills all the gaps where you're not talking about the super tough stuff with things that allow you to have fun. Like I said, it is devilishly delightful watching Mulligan go about her crusade, her mission, so to speak. But there are also moments of lightness in this movie. While there is some dark, there is some light for a little bit. And of all people, Bo Burnham brings some of that light to this movie. He's also fantastic in this. But when you're kind of around those two characters, you're able to have some lighter moments. There are some funny moments. Mulligan has flat out humorous moments and then like really dark humorous moments, and all of them work. And it's kind of weird because the tone of the movie moves around a lot. It's constantly morphing. And like I said, it's got some of that really dark humor and some of these really deep conversations. And for me, the tone shifting really worked because I think for a person who's going through stuff like Cassie is going through, your tone in the world is constantly shifting and morphing. And I just thought the way that Fennel wrote all that stuff out was really, really on the money script-wise. And then style-wise, the way she comes at this as a director, wow, man. Like, it is very stylish. Definitely has a very personal, stylized approach to what she's doing. And I love how she plays with colors, man. Like it's like going into a candy shop when you watch the movie. Cassie in particular has a thing for pastels, so there's like a lot of pastel rainbow colors, but there's also some of that vibrant and deeper colors that you get, and it feels like you're watching like a moving, living candy store to a degree, and it's beautiful. I love it. Let alone just the way that she shoots it and the way that she brings moments up and down with camera movement. Her camera movement is really spot on, and she does some interesting things with the camera. I have talked about in the past how, you know, when you go to film school or journalism school, anything that has to do with this type of media, you know, there's a very specific way in how you build what looks like how things look on a screen. And when people mess with that, it can really throw you off. And Fennel does. She messes with the positioning of the camera. She messes with the positioning of things in the frame. There's a moment where like you have something that should be filling the screen and you're kind of shrunk over to here. And then throughout the movie, Fennel then, like, if you take what happens there and what that means in that moment, she then takes that throughout the movie and utilizes that same concept where she'll put your characters down in the corner and leave all this space. And it adds to the uncomfortableness. And you should be uncomfortable throughout this whole movie. And I think that's something that Fennel is going after, and something that, for me, she knocks out the park throughout the whole movie. Specifically the last 10 minutes. The choices she makes in the last 10 minutes are bold, and they are strong, and they are difficult to watch. But what she is saying is so powerful. And I don't think that understanding the power or understanding what she's saying at the end of this movie it has an impact. Like, oh, people who don't like this movie don't get the ending. No, I think people who don't like this movie or don't like the ending in particular understand what's going on. It is just a very bold choice. And that's the other thing I love about Fennel here. She takes huge swings and, for me, connects on most of them. But when you take huge swings, sometimes you might miss and sometimes you might hit for the audience in general. But for me, Fennel hits more often than not. And the other thing that she brings to this movie is the score. Oh man, did she get some people who knew what they were doing when it came to composing the score for this one, because holy cow, this score is fire, man. There is a moment where you're seeing Mulligan walk, and as she's walking, there is a pop song that comes on, but it's like an orchestral version of a pop song. Oh, dude, it's so good. And things like that are just brilliant throughout the movie. I love the soundtrack choices, but the score, there's a lot of strings in this score. And a lot of the strings come in with that heavy and like overbearing, almost horror thriller kind of sounds. But then at other moments in the movie, you kind of get almost this full orchestra pickup, and it's like I said, there's that constantly morphing tonal shift in the movie, and the score mimics it, and it really does amplify a lot of things, and amplifies a lot of things for Carey Mulligan, who, like I said, knocks this out of the park. This is, for me, her best role, her best anything she's done on screen, and she's done a lot of good stuff on screen, but this is something like I've never seen her do. Taking on this kind of character and the type of personality this character has, something that I haven't personally seen from Carey, and she is so good. Like, it is delightful to watch her go about, like I said, her mission. And she is just so razor sharp, zeroed in at all times in this movie, whether she is, I don't want to spoil anything, but whether she's up or down or wherever they're asking her to go, it's very contained. But can she make you laugh with some of her deliveries, and can she make you want to run and hide? She is, for someone who's the whole role is controlled. Like, she never gets out of control, even though she might be getting out of control here in what she's pushing, and the button she's pushing, and the places that she's going to. But the performance is reined in, but powerfully strong. It's crazy to watch what she does on screen, and the way she delivers those moments that are terrifying. It's just a look in the eye, man, and the way that she approaches these things. And I like how she approaches her mission, the way she goes about it, and the way she handles everything, and all the elements that tie into it, and the people that she comes across. I just like the way, like I said, Fennell handles that writing, and Mulligan handles the performance. And considering that she's, coming from a trauma that's had a severe impact on her life, when Bo Burnham comes into the picture, a lot of things change, and watching that change happen for her is really enjoyable. And like I said, the way the colors and the brightness of the movie can kind of pick up and change. Same thing when you're in that kind of set, like vibrant imagery, the house, her parents' house that she lives in. Oh man, crazy set designs in some of the rooms, and they're all very different, and they bring different feels and vibes to what's going on, and they match the performance. Like, it's awesome to watch a performance and a score, and the visual style and colors and all these things just mesh at the same time and kind of move with each other and just amplify the whole thing. But Mulligan, knockout. Bo Burnham, also really, really good. I didn't know what I was expecting from Bo Burnham, other than he's likable on screen, and his character is likable on screen, and he handles it really good. You could say he's the quote-unquote good guy in the movie, and he nails that stuff. And on screen with Mulligan, he's great. I love his chemistry. I love his approach to trying to break down that wall that Mulligan has up so that he can connect with her. Just the way he delivers all that stuff is wonderful. And you get really good stuff from everybody that shows up in the movie. And there are a lot of people that show up in this movie. There's a lot of small bit roles and then like slightly elevated, like larger bit roles that are filled by tons of wonderful actors. And everybody does really wonderful stuff. From her parents, played by Clancy Brown and Jennifer Coolidge. They're fantastic. I love how they approach, I love their response as parents to things that are going on in the movie. Then there's just all the different dudes. There are a lot of dudes in this movie, as you would imagine. And all of the ones that pop up, bring something wonderful. I love Adam Brody in here. I love Sam Richardson in here. Christopher Mintz-Platts, Max Greenfield. You have people that I really like, and they're put in roles that you don't necessarily have to enjoy as far as the characters they're playing, but the performances they bring are all really good. They certainly make you feel, and they elicit the emotions that these types of guys should make you elicit in the movie, and all of these, guys do a wonderful job. Then you throw in, people like Alison Brie and Connie Britton, who have, small on-screen roles, but very, very critical roles to the overall story. And I like what they bring. I like that Alison Brie just continues to surprise, not even surprise at this point, but just amazes me at all the different places that she can go as an actor. I love watching people who come from comedy jump into an area where they can do so many different things, and Brie continues to prove that every time she's on screen. Connie Britton, you're going to get what you would expect to get from Connie Britton, but she has a very important moment in the movie. And it's one of these things where the people that cross Cassie's path and how she approaches and handles all of those situations, I love, and these performances just add to it because they get into these characters in ways that make you not like them, but also make you sympathize or empathize with them. And those two characters in particular, you really get that with. And I like how Fennel handles all of that and how those two actors in particular play. And outside of that, I think probably the biggest role in the movie is that of Laverne Cox's. She plays Cassie's best friend from med school. They dropped out together. They work at this coffee shop together. And she brings in a lot of the lighter moments in the movie. And just like some of those digs that you can only give to a best friend. And I love watching that relationship. And it's interesting, like I said, to watch all of the different people that Cassie crosses paths with throughout the movie. And how she interacts with all those different people. And how each one of them brings out different elements of who she is or how she's feeling. And Mulligan, like I said, just is crazy. Like right now, his top two performances for me on the female acting side. Her and Viola Davis right now would be my front runners. I hear Frances McDormand is the actual front runner, but I haven't seen Nomadland yet, so that's whatever. But Carey Mulligan, expect to see her awards time because, like I said, she's been nominated before, and yet this role for me is the best thing she's ever done. So, like I said, this is a movie that's going to be divisive amongst the audience. People are going to have different feelings about it, specifically because of the end of the film. But I think it is well worth the watch, and I think it should hit for most people than not. And certainly going to hit a lot closer to home for certain people than other people. And the way that Fennel decides to approach this subject matter and how she just tells the story, it was poignant, it's powerful, and at the end of the day, for me, the movie, start to finish, is just super enjoyable. There you go, man. Those are all my non-spoiler thoughts on Promising Young Woman. One of my favorite movies of the year, one of my favorite performances of the year, and one of my favorite directorial debuts of the year. All three of them packed into one movie that dropped on December 25th. They only gave me like 6 days to get it in, and I'm certainly glad that I did because, like I said, it's going to have an impact on my top 10, so make sure you're looking for that later. But now that I'm done talking, I want to know what you're thinking. Have you had a chance to see Promising Young Woman? This was up at Sundance, I believe, or TIFF. It definitely made the festival run, so I know people have seen this movie. So if you have had a chance to see Promising Young Woman, please keep it spoiler-free. I hope I did a decent job of that and didn't give anything away, because I think a lot of the wonderfulness of this movie and things that I enjoy were the surprises and the twists and turns of where it went. But if you were able to see it, let me know what you're thinking. Good, bad, and different. What were you digging? What wasn't working? How'd you think, Emerald Fennell did for her directorial debut? How'd you think Carey Mulligan did? How does this stack up against her other performances? Is this your favorite from her? What'd you think of Bo Burnham? And like I said, what'd you think of the movie in general? Good, bad, and different. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, have we enticed you to want to check it out? Is this something that you want to see? Is it something you're anxiously waiting to hit VOD? Anything you're thinking about Promising Young Woman, down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man and the rest of the C-Maniacs as we move into 2021, man. And you haven't yet, you've seen this review or maybe some other stuff and you like what we're doing, you want to show a little love, support for the old C-Man, start off the new year in a real fun and positive way for this guy, jump over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you can get those alerts if you like those. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace.
Well, as I live and breathe, you still here? Check out a video like this one or this one and hit the subscribe button so you can get alerts and check out everything the C-Man's got at the Cinema Sit Down.